Hello again. Welcome to a wonderful rainy Monday. Although, I guess, if you're not in the Pacific Northwest, it might not be rainy for you. But it's rainy here, which normally I would be super excited about, but I need to get my tractor up onto the hill. And that's really hard when it's rainy and the mud gets all wet. So, uh, that's okay. There's lots of other stuff to work on and do, such as entertaining cute little kittens and keeping them occupied. That's always an important, very valid thing to do. But today's footage is going to be of some progress on widening the house site. Actually digging into the hillside further, and then there will be a lot of dirt moving. An awful lot of dirt moving. the the height that I have been working towards has changed a few times, and basically I think the current decision is that it's going to be basically where the tractor is sitting. I'm trying to build it up a little bit because I realized that where I would be digging down to requires obviously a lot more work, a lot more moving, which originally I wasn't against because it meant I would have more dirt to use in other places to build up things that I need to build up. But B, that means there's got to be a bigger drop off from the hill to where the house site actually gets cut into. And the bigger that drop off is, the more difficult it is to build the retaining wall to hold everything in place, theoretically. So that's definitely something that having a more shallow drop off is a very valuable thing. And I think I decided that I didn't want to use the dirt to build up on the right here because anytime you build up, there's a potential for shifting as that gets compacted. So the plan at the moment is that I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'm just going to drive over it with the tractor as much as I can to get it reasonably compacted down, and then the rain over the winter will actually help compact it even further so that come springtime, once it actually dries out and we put a house up here, it'll be as stable as it needs to be. If we need to, we'll see about renting some form of steamroller type device that we can bring up here. But I don't think we will. I don't think we actually will need to. So we'll see. That'll be one of the things we'll have to work with the engineer once we actually get to that point. But for now, I've got a good idea of where I need it to be, and I know that where I'm currently sitting is just a tiny bit low for where I need to be. And so I'm going to just work my way across and use this dirt to build everything up around here. And then just keep pushing it around. We're hoping that we'll have a break in the rain that's long enough to let the driveway and the house site dry out a little bit. We're supposed to get just a little bit more rain today and then clear up overnight. And then tomorrow through Thursday are actually supposed to be cloudy, sunny-ish, but very little chance of rain. So if that holds true, then I'm hoping to be able to spend this week actually getting the last little bit of dirt work done, where the driveway going up the hill meets the delivery ramp. I've got a pile of trees there that I have to buck up, and I think we've decided that we'll go ahead and use those for timbers, to build kind of a little bit of a log pavilion, essentially, with the like a 12 by 16 shed, essentially, that is open on the face. So there will be 3 posts in the back and 2 posts across the sides, but the front won't have a center post, which does present a little bit of a engineering challenge. Depending on wood type and things like that, the the requirement for a unsawn log looks like it's between 7 and 8 inches, depending on the log species. Most of the calculators aren't actually designed for. They don't have red alder or ash programmed in, so I figure if I've got a 12-inch log, that should be plenty to spend that, because they're definitely going to be a better log than aspen, which is one of the ones that I am able to look up and check. So I've got plenty that would actually work for that. So I'm thinking we'll build a place to do that, and then I can actually use that for storing some of the lumber as it needs to dry. If I build a 12 by 16 shed and then do like a 3-foot overhang, then that'll be enough to keep even some of the harder rains from getting in there. So that'll probably be a project for springtime, though, but guess that depends on how much rock we end up being able to get over the next couple of months, because that'll be the next challenge. So we've got this house site pretty much ready to go. Once I get all of those logs bucked up and then stacked off somewhere else, then I can finish the little bit of dirt work that we need, and we can double check and have the site inspector make sure that he's good with all the improvements and changes that I've been making. And once that's approved, then I'll know that I'm safe to dig the trench and lay some conduit and poly pipe, and that'll be a big step forward, actually. So that'll be an exciting point. But once that's done, then I can bury them back in and start putting some gravel down. And it doesn't make sense to me to put gravel down before then, since I know I'm going to just be digging that up. That would just be a waste of the cost of that gravel, since I'm just going to bury it in and then smash it into the mud. So anyway, We'll see how far I can get this week. I'll check it tomorrow and see how dry the ground actually is. And if I can, I'll start getting up there to do the saw work at least, and then I can work on, the dirt work, and then we'll have to see just where things end up. But I don't know. There's as always there's too many things going on. So there's always something I can be doing when it's raining. Um, we have a trailer frame that we have from cleaning up the friend's property, and the tires on that frame were super old, like so old that they have a numbering system I've never even heard of. For as long as I've been, since I was 15 and started learning how to drive, tire sizes have always been the radius, the width, and the height. Like a, R15, 75, 210, whatever. That's just how they are measured. But I didn't know this. Apparently, a long time ago, they weren't measured that way. They were measured with a letter and a pair of numbers. So the tires on this tractor are old enough that they are labeled as F75, which means something to someone, but not to me. So I was actually trying to order some tires online and have them shipped, because I found I have access through some church members to some tire equipment, but that I didn't trust that enough. So I've got a little bit of a bonus that's coming through on this next paycheck from something earlier this year, and we decided that getting the tires for that trailer to get it over here would be a good thing, because the next project aside from the house that we want to get going is actually we want to build a mobile processing and a mobile kitchen, mobile processing room that is refrigerated for processing. Not sure exactly what weight limit we're looking for. We definitely want to harvest pigs, so that's kind of the upper range of what we would want to be able to hang in it. The idea is that it will be completely extremely insulated, so that we can refrigerate the room, and then whenever we're working in it, we would be able to just refrigerate that down to 38 or 40 degrees and work in a refrigeration unit, so we don't have to feel rushed. Like that's the one downside right now that we have anytime we've processed animals, is I'm always very concerned about the time, we'll put it that way. Like I keep track of from the time that we do the kill until the time that we actually finish the processing, and the meat is in the fridge or on ice. I'm very conscientious of that, and I'm actually pretty good about making sure that we get it done in about an hour for the actual processing. From start to finish, I'm usually about 2 hours, and that's from the time I start cleaning until the time I finish, like the start cleaning before the processing until the time I finish cleaning at the end of processing. So that's pretty good time, and we also make sure we try and do it on like the coolest days possible and in the shade and things like that. So we do everything we can, but if we had a actual processing room, then one of the advantages that provides us is that we would then have the ability to go to the Department of Agriculture and get that room approved, and then sell to restaurants and butcher shops, grocery stores, things, whatever we are able to do so. So footage-wise, this is actually the next day, and it was time to do some servicing. So I'm just going through and greasing up all the joints, and then there's this challenge that I've had with this right rear tire has kind of been a sore point with the dealership. This tire has always made noise, and at one point it got consistent enough and squeaky enough that I had them come out and take a look, and they tried to claim it was the lug nuts that were loose. That seems to be their default issue with anything that is related to the tires. It's got to be the lug nuts. That's definitely a sore point for me. So I thought, okay, well, all right, I'll check the lug nuts, and I got a bigger wrench, and I actually broke a 1/2-inch socket trying to tighten the lug nuts further, because supposedly that was the cause of the sound. So I ended up having them come out again, because even after breaking a wrench, breaking a socket, the ratchet mechanism sheared, and I could not get them to tighten anymore. So they came out and looked at them again and claimed yet again it was that the lug nuts were loose. So we had them actually take it to their shop. So they've now looked at this 3 times, and all 3 times they claim it's the lug nuts. So we got an impact wrench. I got the biggest impact wrench that I could find, and I can't get those lug nuts to go any tighter than they do. And it now no longer makes a squeaking noise, it makes like a thumping noise. So I am confident that the problem is inside the axle. Trying to apparently get this local Kubota dealership to do anything is worse than trying to pull teeth. So I've kind of just given up on it. One of these days I need to pull the tire apart and actually try and take the hub apart and see if I can just find the problem. I did find, so what I was looking for as I was crawling around under there, I actually found that the bolts holding the backhoe mount to the trailer frame were coming loose. And so I thought that was like the popping sound was as the tractor's turning, the backhoe frame is like able to wiggle a little bit. So I ended up pulling the tire off and trying to fix those. I actually took some of them and reversed them, because the way they were set up now, the nut can technically spin freely. The lock washer is binding against a regular disc washer instead of to the metal of the frame, so it doesn't actually lock the washer in place, which was kind of stupid of the dealership to, like, when they assembled it. Anyway. Like I said, it's been a sore point. This tractor I don't feel like was assembled correctly, which is kind of sad. It's been a good tractor otherwise, and I know a lot of people who like their Kubotas, but who knows? Oh well. Anyway, so I'm working my way through to the west across where I started from the day before, and I paused there for a second to start gathering some of the rocks that I've found. Um, get a nice bucketful. I think this makes the second bucketful that I have found, and I'm as of today, I've actually got 3 bucketfuls out of this whole entire area. Um, I get a rock. I get a rock. I get a rock. Hey, 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 hey. um, anyways, what I'm trying to do for the process here is oh yes, right. There was actually one that was too big for me to move, so I grabbed that guy with the backhoe, because it could lift a lot more than I can. But instead of trying to go straight across where I've been digging, I'm actually angling this up a little bit because I know there's a couple more trees up here that I'm going to have to dig and push out before I can actually dig down to level the spot. So like right here, I've got the tractor at a bit of an angle, and I'm just focusing on getting a ramp that I can then drive up. And once I get that, then I'll be able to go work on those last few trees that needed to come down. And there's another rock. It'll be interesting to see. Granted, there won't be much video footage to see for as far as progress, but most of the progress over the next few months will be just updates. I think one of the next steps in the very near future is that we'll have to reach out to to a local bank again about the financing for the home, which I'm actually really excited about. The company that I had used to purchase my house in Garland was Guild Mortgage, and they came recommended by a couple of friends, and so I went and met with them, and I was always extremely pleased with their services, with how open they were, their communication, and ultimately they were great to work with. I ended up, like I mentioned, buying that house, and my only complaint about them is that they are a mortgage broker. So they get the mortgage in place, and then after a few months they sell it. They ended up selling it to what has become, in my opinion, the second worst bank that I've ever had to deal with. The worst being Wells Fargo, and Chase being the second worst. So I'm not a fan of giant corporate banks. I feel like they have lost touch with reality, I guess, as far as like real life. And the bigger they are, the more weird and crazy the mistakes they do. Like I remember a while back there, and this story gets even more crazy. So what happened? This family bought a house. They paid cash for the house, so there was no bank involved. There was no lien. There was no loan. It was a cash title transfer from one owner of the house to this family. And a few years later, Bank of America decided that they were going to repossess this house, and they went through the entire repossession process and started foreclosure proceedings on this house that they never had a title to, they never had a say in, they never had any association with whatsoever. And it got so bad that this family took them to court and won, and they got a judgment against Bank of America, who then refused to pay anything. So they actually got the local sheriff and went to the local Bank of America branch and started repossessing like the furniture from the office and things like that before the branch manager finally was like, oh hey, we need to get this resolved. um, and as crazy as that story is, like I said, that gets worse, because I was explaining that to Emily and telling her about this story. This was around the time frame of when I actually bought my house in Garland. So it would have been like 2012, 2013, something like that. And I couldn't remember the exact details, and so I was trying to look that up to find it. And that was a story in Florida. As I looked up that story, I found the same almost exact scenario in 3 different states. And they didn't go so far on any of those ones, as they didn't have to go so far as to doing the foreclosure proceedings and repossessing the bank's assets. Um, but it blew my mind, and I started looking up and found that that's actually not an uncommon thing, unfortunately, for a bank to try and foreclose on a house that they don't have any say in. Um, like it blows my mind. Um, so yeah, I'm just not a fan of big banks. So Guild Mortgage, um, I was actually super excited. We were talking with the salesman for Northwest Green Homes, and he was mentioning the companies that they have worked with on multiple properties and have um, never had issues with. And when we first talked with him a couple years ago, and actually started this whole process, just inquiring about it, the list that they gave us did not include Guild Mortgage, and I was actually kind of disappointed about that. But as he was talking, we were talking about the bank or the credit union that we actually had reached out to and started working with, and he was like, yeah, they're good. You should probably reach out to these guys too. And I was like, wait, what? Guild Mortgage is available? And he said, yeah, they bought this other company out. um, there was another little mortgage company here in Chehalis, and I guess they got bought out and merged with Guild Mortgage. So I'm actually really excited about that, and hoping that'll be a good sign. So that'll be one of the things that'll happen in the future. But talking to the um, Lewis County Public Utility Department is going to be one of the things we'll have to do. Talking with the county health department is one of the things that we'll have to do. So we'll see how life goes, but a lot of the changes that we're going to be seeing are going to be more internal type stuff. So back to the footage, though. Like I said, I'm just working on building a little bit of a ramp at this point to get over there, and I'm kind of fighting at the moment. One of the trees that I had pushed over ended up splitting instead of actually uprooting, and so I'm trying to fight with that root ball, which is why I'm having to dig as deep as I am. But we're about to the end of the footage for this particular day, so we'll have to do that another time. And you can see how far down I sank there. It was definitely a little bit of a challenge. So I'm trying to dig at it from the side to try and break up some of those bigger roots. But like I said, that'll be the end of the footage. So thank you for watching. God bless you and yours, and I hope you're able to stay safe and healthy out there.